I'm Andrew from CineRoll, and today in this video we are going to look at 8mm film and the reasons for its popularity and decline. Standard 8mm film, also known as double 8, regular 8, double regular 8mm film, or simply as regular 8 in United States, or a standard 8 in United Kingdom. It is a film format developed by the Eastman Kodak company. By the 1930s, America was in the depth of the Great Depression. The Eastman Kodak company figured out a way how to extend the success of 16mm film, as well as involve more people in the hobby of movie making. They developed 8mm film as a less expensive alternative to the 16mm cine format. It was released in the market in 1932, named Cine Kodak Eight. 8mm cine film was created using a special 16mm film with double the number of perforations of both sides. The benefit of 8mm film is that its frame is only 1/4 the size of the 16mm film frame. The film worked in much the same way as the cassette tape. Once the roll had run out, you were then allowed to flip the spool and expose the other side of the 16mm film. Therefore, the amount of film needed was much reduced. After development of 25 feet roll, the laboratory would slice the film lengthwise down the middle and then splice two sides together, building 50 feet of finished 8mm film. The 8mm film format became instant success. The 16mm film format was continued to be used by the professional filmmakers. In the first 20 years, 8mm film became more and more common around the globe. That's due to the changes made from 16mm film to 8mm film that made film stock much more affordable. In the heyday, the 1950s, 8mm film cameras were extremely common. They were recording family gatherings, special events, and on vacations. Regular 8 was usually exposed at 8 frames a second, and most of the movies are silent with a few exceptions. The use of regular 8 became to decline in the 1960s due to the advent of Super 8 film format. Super 8 had its advantages. First of all, it was easier to use. You just had to place the magazine inside and you were ready to go. With the regular 8mm film, there's a whole different story. You had to unspool it from one spool, feed it through the gate, then have it to spool into the take-up reel. If you weren't used to this, you could easily screw this up, and your film wouldn't even be feeding. The camera would just make noise while the gears spun and the film sat there helplessly, assuming you did it correctly. When it was halfway done, you had to take it out, flip it around, and redo the process. Since Super 8 quickly became popular, the new cameras with the best features started coming out, like cameras with sound, power zoom, auto exposure, etc. were all Super 8. So even if you wanted to stick with regular 8mm film, you did not have a choice for new features or new cameras. Kind of like if you had a Betamax player or a HDVD player in the later years. Curiously, it's often easier and cheaper to obtain a regular 8 than Super 8 these days, due to the fact that regular 8 is a 16mm film with extra holes. 8mm film is still available today as a double 8mm film, loaded on 25 feet daylight roll. Many young filmmakers love 8mm film for the excellent machine age cameras they find, like the venerable Bell & Howell, Quartz, or Bolex 8mm cameras. I hope you learned something new in this episode, and if you like this episode, please subscribe to me, like and comment below.